Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Josie's Point of View, where we focus on human interest stories from the Carolinas and beyond. Today's Sunday and it's December the 21st, 2025. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you find the information here to be informative. And if you're a returning viewer, by all means, thank you for coming back. You know, I always say the tide changes so frequently here on these YouTube streets. So you always have to acknowledge where your support comes from. And I want you to know I sincerely thank you for your support. So feel free to like and to share this video. And don't forget to subscribe. And our story today is coming out of the city of Charlotte here in North Carolina. Take a look at the headline. And it reads, Update to the Sycamore Brewery sex scandal, new charges, expanded fallout, and moving forward. I'll provide you with a summary here, and I'll identify some of my sources for you in the description box. Welcome back, everyone. First, I want to thank you for your review of my last video. Thanks for the views, thanks for the shares, and most of all, thanks for the comments. But we're back again because we have some unfinished business to address. You know the story all too well by now. Justin Brigham, co-owner of the popular Charlotte Brewery known as Sycamore Brewery, was found naked in the bedroom of a 13-year-old child at around midnight on December the 10th. He was arrested, charged, and assigned a bond of $10 million. But today we have new information that has come to light. And now we've moved into phase two of the drama because we learned that earlier this week there were more charges filed against Justin Brigham. In fact, 6 additional charges have been added. And so we're calling it Sycamore Brewery Scandal, Sex Scandal, Part 2. This is what we're going to cover in this video. We're going to go over the updated charges. We're going to talk about the new bond. We will talk about the expanded fallout, and it's pretty bad. And then we'll discuss briefly moving forward. And you know, this is such a messy and such an ugly and a painful story that we are not going to continue to keep rehashing it over and over and over. So this video will be our last video on this topic. Unless there's a guilty plea or a sentence, we will not be addressing it after this video. So come on in, let's get closer, and let me share with you what I have today. So let's revisit the point at which we stopped in the last video. We spoke about the charges, and here are the charges: statutory RIP of a child, indecent liberties, and burglary. And we know that again that he was assigned a bond of $10 million. And that's where we ended in the last video. And as I already mentioned, there were 6 new charges, and of those 6 new charges, 5 of them had to do with the sexual act on that minor. By the time they found him in that room, he had already completed the act. So there were 5 additional charges here. He had already had 3 before, and here are the 5. 3 counts of statutory sex offense with a child under the age of 15, 1 count of second-degree sexual exploitation of a minor, and 1 count of soliciting a child by computer. And it was mentioned that they were communicating by Snapchat and by text messages. So those were the sex-related charges, but we're not finished yet. And then there's charge number 6, 1 count of assault, inflicting serious bodily injury. And they're not talking about the 13-year-old. We're talking about one of the males in that home. And you're saying, what? Yep. That's because it says the former Sycamore owner, he's been charged with injuring a man by grabbing his genitals. Yes, that's what I said. So let me set the stage for you. This is how I think it went down in that house at that night. When the parents of that 13-year-old found naked Justin Brigham in their daughter's bedroom, all hell broke loose, and rightfully so. And I'm sure they were fighting and kicking, and they were trying to restrain him to make sure he could not leave that house while someone else was calling the police. And I'm sure he was fighting back like a madman. And one of the men probably was able to pin him down. Remember, he's naked. They probably able to pin him down and either sit on top of him or lie on top of him or something like that. And Justin was down, but he was not out. He was fighting till the end. He had difficulty moving, but he was able to free one hand and he grabbed onto the mailman's penis and he squeezed and he twisted like there was no tomorrow. And that's how he managed to get away. That's how he ran out of there naked, because he was now running for his life. Okay, that's what I think happened. The police report says he injured a man by grabbing and squeezing and twisting and pulling the man's penis and testicles, causing a great deal of pain. And so he was back in court this past Monday to face these 6 additional charges and to see whether or not they were going to give him an additional bond. And so this past Monday, which was December the 14th, he once again went before a judge for another bond hearing. And this time, as expected, his bond was adjusted. Now, his initial bond was $10 million. Well, that will no longer be the case because the bond increased to $11.25 million. The judge also ordered that he have no contact with the prosecuting witness and not assault, threaten, or harass the witness, and to abide by any protective order that was put in place. So then again, for these new additional charges, $1.25 million bond was added to the amount. And as previously reported, his next court date is scheduled for December 29th, 2025. And as I'm sure you know, that the backlash started almost immediately. It was swift. It's been very severe, and it continues to grow by the day. Reporters have written about and shown videos of the deserted parking lot and lack of patrons at Sycamore Brewery's main location in Charlotte. They say the once popular location now resembles a ghost town. Now, among the latest reports is the announcement that Sycamore Brewery, located within the Charlotte Airport, the restaurant section, they're being booted out. No clear explanation given, except to say that the folks holding the food and beverage license has decided to move in a different direction. And considering the timing of this decision, the restaurant has been there since 2022. But considering the timing, you could probably read through the lines on this one. And current reports are that numerous grocery stores have come out publicly to announce they will no longer sell the Sycamore brand. Some of the grocery chains include Publix, Food Lions, Lowe's Food, Whole Foods, and others. And as you already know, many bars, and the numbers are increasing, many bars said they will no longer carry the Sycamore brand as well. Now, we discussed in our last video patrons pouring beer down the sink, others removing the products from their shelves. One bar was offering a pay what you want in order to sell up the remaining stock on hand. They did not care what patrons did with the beer once they got it. And the fallout goes beyond bars and extend outside of the North Carolina area. You know, WCNC Charlotte posted a very detailed list of organizations who are now blacklisting Sycamore Brewery, and I'll include that information in my description box. But I also saw where one business had events that were scheduled to take place in the brewery, and they just went ahead and canceled. Others have canceled all of their small business events for 2026. So right now, Sycamore Brewery is taking a hit of the worst possible kind. But I have a question for you. Do you think it's really fair to punish so many people for the actions of one individual? Do you think that these employees had anything to do with Justin Bingham's actions? So let me tell you what I think. I don't believe anybody is responsible for what Justin Brigham done but Justin Brigham. And to me, as retailers and one supporting partners, your actions don't signify any type of support whatsoever. Seem to me all you're trying to do is to look good in the eyes of the public. To me, you're not even paying attention to the fact that the people your actions are hurting, it's not Justin Brigham, but the scores of people whose lives have already been traumatized. They've been traumatized personally and financially by his actions. But here's something to think about. At the Charlotte Man Brewery, there are over 120 people who are employed full time. And according to, and I found that in the public domain, by the way, and with so many companies who have already decided to blacklist Sycamore, this is going to negatively impact business, and some of those people are going to lose their job. That's a fact of life. Okay. But these people have families. And jobs are hard to come by. And we're moving into the holiday season. Families still have to eat. Justin Bingham is solely responsible for his crimes. I do believe the actions of many of these retailers are misguided. You know, I believe what Justin Brigham did is horrible. I've called him a despicable piece of garbage, but he's no longer affiliated with that company. And the company has made it clear they're not going to lift a finger to help with this defense fund. So now we need to allow the legal system to run its course, and we need to continue to support the workers. They have done absolutely nothing wrong. And with so many companies cutting ties with Sycamore Brewery, we suddenly applaud the ones and acknowledge the ones who've agreed to stay. Kudos to Goodfellows. Goodfellows, the bar in Chapel Hill, have made it clear that while they condemn the action of the previous co-owner, that they are willing to continue to support the brewery workers. And they have stated that instead of dumping the beer and penalizing the innocent, hardworking people who rely on the brewery for their livelihoods, we're going to continue to work with Sycamore going forward. What an awesome thing to do. Good for you, good fellows. And moving forward, no one really knows what the future holds for Sycamore Brewing Company, but we do understand that whatever happens will be challenging and most likely painful at times. I saw reports suggesting new leadership and even a name change, but I don't see how that's going to change anything. How can you spend over a decade creating a brand and then all of a sudden people want you to abandon it overnight? That really doesn't make sense. I don't think that's the right answer. But this is just a painful chapter, and hopefully, with time, the bad memories will diminish and community trust can once again be reestablished. And in the meantime, Justin Brigham remains in jail with an $11.25 million bond. And again, his next court date is scheduled for December 29th. And that's all I have for you right now, but feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this video. And by all means, feel free to like it and to share it. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on that red subscribe button. It's on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if you click on the bell that looks like just like this one, that's the notification bell. If you click on that notification bell, you'll be the first to know whenever a new video is uploaded. I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.